Reaching the age of 80 is a milestone that so many people dream of, yet so few truly prepare for. It's a chapter of life filled with wisdom, unforgettable stories, and an appreciation for the smallest joys. But let's be honest, it's also a stage where the body and mind begin to whisper truths we can no longer ignore. And if you're curious about what really happens after 80, the changes no one likes to talk about, you're in the right place. Before we dive deeper, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because the insights I share here could make all the difference in how you or your loved ones experience these years. The reality is, many seniors expect life after 80 to flow just like before, but hidden challenges start to reveal themselves. Challenges that affect health, independence, and even confidence. And here's the thing, ignoring them doesn't make them go away. In fact, knowing about them early can mean the difference between living with dignity and feeling defeated by old age. If you're finding this eye-opening so far, don't forget to subscribe. You don't want to miss the tips coming up that can truly change the way you think about aging. For many, the first shocking surprise is how differently the body responds. A fall that once seemed minor can now lead to weeks of recovery. Energy doesn't bounce back after a good night's sleep the way it used to. Simple tasks like climbing stairs, cooking a meal, or even getting dressed suddenly feel heavier. Not because of laziness, but because the body itself has slowed down. If you've ever seen this in your parents, grandparents, or even yourself, you'll know how unsettling it feels. And we're just getting started, so make sure you've subscribed, because in the next few minutes we'll uncover more truths that most people never see coming. But it's not only about physical strength, it's about independence. The quiet fear of losing control over your own life is one of the hardest parts of aging. Imagine not being able to walk to the store on your own, or needing help with simple things you once did effortlessly. It's not just about aches and pains. It's about losing a little piece of freedom every day. And if that thought makes you pause, stay with me. Hit subscribe, because what I'm about to share will show you how many seniors learn to adapt without losing their dignity. Then comes another painful truth, loneliness. By the time someone reaches 80, many friends, siblings, and sometimes even a life partner may no longer be around. The circle grows smaller, and the silence inside a home can become deafening. This isn't just emotional. It has real health effects. Loneliness can weaken the immune system, trigger memory problems, and even shorten life expectancy. That's why companionship becomes as vital as medicine. If this resonates with you, or if you're thinking about a loved one right now, go ahead and subscribe, because I'll be sharing practical ways to fight this loneliness in powerful, uplifting ways. And let's not forget the quiet weight many older adults carry, the fear of becoming a burden. Parents don't want to trouble their children. Grandparents push themselves to do things they shouldn't, just so they won't have to ask for help. But while that mindset comes from love, it can also cause harm. Refusing help can make decline happen faster. The truth is, accepting help doesn't mean weakness. It often means extending independence. If you want to hear strategies to balance independence with support, then make sure you subscribe right now, because what's coming up could ease that fear for you or someone you love. Now, I know all of this may sound heavy, but here's the hopeful side. Facing these truths openly gives strength. Aging isn't about giving up. It's about learning new ways to live with grace, courage, and adaptability. Seniors who embrace change instead of fighting it often stay healthier and more independent for far longer. And that's what this channel is all about, turning aging into a journey of wisdom, not struggle. If that's the kind of future you want for yourself or someone you care about, don't just watch. Join our community by subscribing, hitting like, and turning on notifications, because together we're rewriting the story of aging. So let's get into the first painful truth that comes after 80. The body no longer recovers the way it used to. At a younger age, a small fall or a common cold faded quickly. But after 80, even minor issues linger. A stumble can mean a fracture. Muscles respond more slowly, balance feels less steady, and stamina doesn't return, no matter how much you rest. This is the first and perhaps the most shocking reminder that aging isn't just about birthdays. It's about learning to live in a body that plays by new rules. This reality can shake confidence. Someone who once felt strong and independent may suddenly hesitate to go for a walk or do chores alone. Life feels smaller, not because the heart isn't willing, but because the body is uncertain. And yet, this is not the end of the story. With the right mindset and adjustments, seniors can still enjoy freedom and joy. Gentle exercises, walking aids, or simply asking for a hand can change everything. That's why you'll want to stay tuned and subscribe, because I'll share the practical ways to adapt without losing the spark of independence that makes life worth living. The second reality that many seniors discover after crossing 80 is one that cuts deeper than physical aches. It's loneliness. And here's the surprising part. Loneliness doesn't just touch the heart, it quietly changes the body too, in ways most people don't realize. Think about it. By this stage, the social circle that once filled life with laughter and conversation often becomes painfully small. Friends who once dropped by for tea may no longer be around. Siblings may have passed away. And for some, even a lifelong partner is no longer there. Yes, children and grandchildren still love you, but they're busy. They're juggling jobs, schools, and families of their own. And while the love is there, the visits grow fewer, the phone calls shorter. Suddenly, a home that was once alive with voices feels silent, and that silence weighs heavily on the soul. If you've ever felt this or seen it happen to someone you love, you already know. It's not the body's aches that hurt the most. It's the ache of being forgotten. And here's where I want to pause for a moment. If you're finding this eye-opening, if you want to learn more about these hidden truths of aging and how to face them with strength, don't just watch. Hit subscribe right now. Join this community where we speak openly about things others avoid. Because loneliness may be one of the hardest truths, but it's also one of the most important to prepare for. Now let's get honest about what loneliness really does. It doesn't just make the days drag longer. Studies show it directly affects health, raising the risk of depression, memory decline, and even physical illness. The brain, when starved of conversation and connection, slows down. Meals lose their joy when there's no one to share them with. A dinner table once filled with family stories becomes a quiet reminder of who's missing. And yet, many younger people don't notice this suffering. They assume, well, as long as mom has food and medicine, she's fine. But here's the truth. Food and medicine keep the body alive, while connection keeps the spirit alive. Without both, aging feels empty. Even more painful, some seniors feel lonely even in a full house, surrounded by family, yet invisible. Their opinions brushed aside, their stories unheard. It's as if the world has moved on without them. That's when the quiet realization sets in, that aging isn't just about losing physical strength. It's about losing a sense of belonging, and that more than anything breaks the heart. But this is where hope enters. Loneliness isn't unbeatable. Those who step outside, join community gatherings, attend religious services, or simply reach out to a neighbor often find new energy returning. Even technology, which can feel intimidating, opens doors. Video calls with family, online groups, or even learning new skills can spark joy again. Because at the end of the day, the fight against loneliness is just as important as the fight against illness. A warm smile, a shared story, a heartfelt conversation. They heal in ways medicine never can. And that's why I urge you, don't miss what's coming next. Subscribe, because in the next reality, we'll uncover another silent challenge that seniors face after 80. One that most people don't talk about until it's too late. That brings us to the third reality, the constant fear of losing independence. Think about it. For most of our lives, independence is something we never question. We wake up when we want, cook when we feel like it, go where we please. But past 80, things begin to shift. Suddenly, the simplest routines, cooking, climbing stairs, remembering medicine, feel overwhelming. It's not just frustrating, it's heartbreaking. Because every small struggle feels like a reminder, I can't do this the way I used to. And what makes this even harder? The quiet fear of becoming a burden. So many seniors hide their struggles. They insist, I'm fine, even when they're not. They push themselves to carry groceries, climb steps, or move furniture, just so they won't appear weak. But in that fight to stay independent, they risk accidents that only make things worse. Have you seen this in someone you love? Maybe even in yourself? That tug of war between asking for help and wanting to stand strong is one of the most draining battles after 80. It's not just about ability. It's about pride, dignity, and identity. Here's the heartbreaking truth. Losing independence often changes how seniors see themselves. A provider, a leader, a caregiver. All identities built over decades. suddenly feel stripped away when even small tasks need assistance. Some respond by withdrawing, isolating themselves to avoid showing weakness. Others push too hard, refusing to admit limits, which often leads to dangerous injuries. Both paths create pain. But, and this is crucial, independence doesn't always mean doing everything alone. Real independence is about choice. It's about living life on your own terms, even if that means using a cane, adding safety bars in the bathroom, or accepting a hand from family. In fact, embracing support often protects independence rather than taking it away. And that's the message so many people need to hear. Asking for help isn't giving up control. It's holding on to it. The seniors who adapt, who see assistance as a tool rather than a threat, often continue to live with more freedom and joy than those who resist. If this reality strikes a chord with you, then please subscribe now. Because in the upcoming part of this series, we'll talk about how to adapt with dignity and how to keep control even when the body sets limits. You won't want to miss it. The fourth reality that many seniors face after the age of 80 is one of the most painful because it strikes at the very core of identity: the decline in memory and mental sharpness. This isn't just about forgetting where you left your glasses or mixing up a familiar name. It's about forgetting whether medicine was taken, leaving the stove on, or missing important appointments. Small mistakes suddenly carry big risks. A skipped pill could harm the body. A forgotten stove could endanger a home. And perhaps most heartbreaking of all, this reality slowly chips away at confidence. For someone who once managed a career, raised a family, and carried countless responsibilities, losing mental sharpness can feel humiliating. Many laugh it off when they forget something, but inside there's a quiet fear. Am I still capable of living on my own? Will my family take over my decisions? Am I losing myself? These questions don't just sting. They bring real anxiety. And for many, the shadow of dementia or Alzheimer's hangs like a storm cloud over every forgotten word. And here's the hidden pain. It doesn't just change how seniors see themselves. It changes how others treat them. Family members may lose patience, repeat themselves, or correct mistakes in a way that feels patronizing. Seniors feel this shift. They notice the tone of voice, the sighs, the subtle dismissals. And the hurt runs deep, because no one wants to be treated like a child when they've spent a lifetime earning respect. Some withdraw from conversations altogether, avoiding gatherings because the embarrassment feels heavier than the loneliness. But pulling back only makes things worse, because the brain needs stimulation, challenge, and interaction to stay alive. Still, even this harsh reality has hope. Memory challenges don't mean the end of independence. Tools like reminders, sticky notes, alarms, or keeping a steady routine can make daily life manageable. Puzzles, reading, and learning something new can give the brain exercise it craves. Even simple conversations with friends or family can keep the mind sharper than silence ever could. Independence after 80 isn't only about the body. It's about protecting the mind too. If you're finding this helpful, pause for a second and hit subscribe. Because the next truth is one almost every senior whispers about, but few openly admit. One that affects every single day. And that brings us to the fifth reality: living with chronic pain that doesn't go away. Unlike the occasional stiffness of middle age, this pain becomes a constant companion. Aching joints, arthritis, back pain, hip pain. Each step feels like a reminder of aging. What was once a simple walk around the garden can now feel exhausting. And the hardest part isn't always the pain itself. It's what the pain takes away. Dancing, gardening, kneeling to play with grandchildren. All the small joys that made life full suddenly feel out of reach. Living with pain isn't just physical. It drains the spirit. Sleep is often broken. Days feel longer. Even the most optimistic person can grow tired, irritable, and discouraged when every movement hurts. And yet, many seniors don't talk about it. They stay silent, not wanting to worry their families, or believing it's just a normal part of aging. But silence doesn't heal. In fact, avoiding movement because of pain can make the body weaker, creating a downward spiral. Chronic pain is cruel because it steals independence. Needing help to stand up, to bathe, or to reach something on a shelf may look small to outsiders. But for someone who has lived decades taking care of themselves and others, It can feel devastating. Pain dictates what you can or cannot do. And that loss of control often hurts more than the pain itself. But, and this is important, pain doesn't have to control life completely. Gentle exercises, stretches, or chair movements can ease stiffness. Warm compresses, massages, and good medical care can bring real relief. Even activities that distract the mind, like music, reading, or spending time in nature, can soften the emotional weight. Seniors who adapt, seek help, and keep moving in small but steady ways often discover that while pain may slow them down, it doesn't stop them from living. And maybe that's a deeper lesson here. Pain is real, but resilience is stronger. After 80, life is not about running at the same pace. It's about finding comfort, joy, and purpose in the rhythm that still belongs to you. So if you want to keep uncovering these hidden truths of aging and, more importantly, learn how to face them with courage and dignity, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button, turn on the notification bell, and stay with me. Because the next reality will show you yet another challenge most seniors face, but also the hidden strength that comes from overcoming it. The eighth reality that many seniors face after turning 80 is the emotional weight of grief and loss. And let's be honest, it's one of the heaviest truths of aging. By this stage, many have said goodbye to lifelong friends, siblings, and sometimes even a spouse or a child. The empty chair at the dinner table, the familiar voice that no longer answers the phone, the favorite spot once visited together. These become daily reminders of how much has changed. Unlike earlier years, when grief came rarely, after 80, it becomes a constant visitor. Each farewell leaves a scar on the heart, and over time, those scars can feel heavier than the body itself. But grief doesn't just live in the heart, it touches the whole body. The sadness of losing loved ones can lead to loneliness, to depression, even to a fading will to live. Many seniors describe the world as growing quieter, smaller, as though its colors have dimmed. Waking up in the morning can feel harder, because the person who once brought light to the day is no longer there. That weight affects appetite, sleep, and energy. The truth is, when the heart aches, the body listens. And here's the part few people see. Grief in old age is often silent. Many seniors don't share their sorrow. They don't want to trouble their children. They don't believe others will truly understand. So they smile when family visits. But when the house grows quiet, the emptiness rushes back. Watching younger generations laugh, celebrate milestones, and move forward can sometimes deepen that sense of being left behind. Yet, even in this silence, there is resilience. Some seniors find strength in memories, holding on to photos, rereading letters, or sharing stories with grandchildren. For some, faith becomes an anchor, a reminder that love never truly ends. It simply changes form. Others find healing in community, support groups, religious gatherings, or simply talking with people who carry the same pain. Nothing can replace those who are gone, but new ways of connecting can soften the sorrow. And this is why I want to pause here and invite you, if these truths touch your heart, if you want to keep learning how to navigate aging with strength and dignity, make sure you subscribe right now. Press the like button, turn on the notification bell, because each week we uncover these hidden realities of life after 80 that almost no one talks about, yet every family needs to understand. Because here's the truth, grief after 80 is unavoidable, but it's also proof of something beautiful. To feel such deep pain means you once knew deep love. The tears reflect the joy that once was. And while grief may never fully disappear over time, it can slowly transform. It becomes gratitude for the laughter shared, for the hands once held, for the love that shaped a lifetime. In this way, even in loss, life's final chapters remain filled with meaning.